What's going on, everybody? We are live with TSO Podcast number 9. Let me get that on the screen, something like that. There we go. Today, I'm joined by my co-host, Bobby the King Jr. As you guys know, I'm Ronnie Drifter Bob Hurst. You can tweet us live during the show at DrifterBob. For me, at Bob, what is it?
Bob JR 0526.
I know there was numbers on the end of it. Didn't want to get it wrong. There you go. At Bob.
I need to change it.
Yeah. Anyway.
I need a simpler.
Appreciate you guys out there watching. Let us know what you think as we go. Want to keep this interactive. Tonight, we are talking about MLB The Show 17 initial impressions. But before we get started with the topic, we're going to do what we do every show and talk about what has been going on or what we've been doing lately in sports video gaming. Bob, why don't you start us off?
Well, Hard Knocks heads into Season 5 playoffs. We're going to go one more season, Season 6. We're going to kind of tone it down because we've had some drop-off, the summer drop-off or spring drop-off. Leading into summer, leading into Madden burnout is what we call it.
Yeah, the dreaded Madden summer drop-off, or I guess late spring in a lot of cases.
We live in Texas, so it's usually just fall or summer, or just summer all year round.
Right.
We're going into that. We're going to drop it off from all Madden to all pro. And
so what's that going to do for you?
It's kind of like a and some of my guys probably won't like this, but it's kind of like a test. So we're going to test out how it does in the league setting. We got like maybe 15 people left. So we want to see how it plays and see if that's the way we want to go forward for the next release. So we're kind of doing like a social experiment.
Okay.
And then the 108 finally got kicked off, which we'll dive into a little bit more in a few. But we're in baseball season, so.
It is baseball season.
He's still in the Rocket League?
I am still in the Rocket League. Probably put in one night or so, I think, last week. Mass Effect Andromeda is still absolutely consuming my gaming time. I really can't put the story down, the campaign mode down. So some of the guys were talking about it in the TSO Slack chat. I didn't. I meant to go back and look at my game progress because a couple of guys were throwing that around, and I actually don't know how far I am even in the game. That's how just completely lost I am in it. But it's been a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. And
So let me ask.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, let me ask you a question because I always find myself when I play games that are like that. It's more so like the other like Call of Duty and stuff, but any kind of game that has a storyline,
right? I
end up getting so hyper focused in it that I completely lose track of time. So is that what you're kind of where you're kind of at with it, or?
Yeah, I mean, there's been plenty of nights where I'm up at 1:30 or something playing this game, hopping from planet to planet, and just like, oh yeah, I gotta go to work in the morning, so kind of need to get off. But yeah, no, definitely been locked in. Actually, been while it was mentioned in the Slack chat, a couple of the guys, we may run some multiplayer at some point this week. So
there you go. I saw Broth and
Hit and Tub and a couple other guys. So I don't know.
That'd
Could be
cool.
fun. Could be fun.
Absolutely.
Other than that,
variety is the spice of life, right?
Exactly. Other than that, man, it's been really rainy outside, so just kind of been getting probably a little more than average gaming time in, but been working on a couple things for the podcast as well as the site, kind of in the background. But other than that, man, just trucking at it. All right, guys, welcome back. Shout out to Keller Blog for sponsoring this podcast. Keller Blog, a bastion for bastions.
Buffalo to the Big East.
Big Ten, man. Big Ten.
Or Big Ten, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So, anyway, getting on to the topic today. MLB The Show 17 dropped. It was a couple Tuesdays ago, right?
Oh man, it was like the week. So it's last week in March.
Right. Yeah. So Bob, real quick, give your 10,000-foot review of your experience in MLB The Show 17, and then we'll dive into a couple of specific topics.
Well, I don't really want to put my head through the wall. So
it's like that, huh?
Don't get me wrong. Look, I love baseball. I grew up playing baseball. Everybody knows I play slow pitch softball because I suck now. The speed is gone. I love baseball. I love it. It's strategy, everything behind it, right? So I get all excited about this time of year, ready to play MLB The Show.
Sure.
And I'm not kidding you. Every year, I get let down.
Really?
It's been every year I get let down. Well, I want to play with my friends, right? I want to play online. I want to do whatever. So, but we can dive into that in a minute. Now, the positive on the game is absolutely beautiful. It's 4K. I mean, you can play it on 4K on the PS4 Pro. I mean, it's the whole reason I bought the PS4. It's because I wanted to play the show.
Right. You're talking about graphically.
Graphically,
yeah.
It's awesome.
Right.
The offline franchise. There's a lot of fun stuff in there. It's really in depth for a sports game.
Uh-huh.
It's so much lacking on the other end that I want to play that it's hard for me to get fully invested into it.
Really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I've watched obviously Frisky streams several times a week, so I've been paying attention to kind of what the community's doing with the show, and a lot of those guys are almost strictly Diamond Dynasty and offline franchise. I don't think you'll see many people streaming
a lot of RT
else. Yeah, and yeah, of course,
yeah,
like
a lot of
show. That goes without saying. That's like for sure. So I guess, I mean, it is San Diego Studios who does the game. MLB The Show's been on this trajectory for a couple of years now, right? Where they're building just a very, very, very gorgeous, baseball experience. Me personally, I kind of stopped playing. I think the show 15 was the last one I played. Love the road to the show. Love offline franchise for the most part. Kind of lost depth with me a little bit, but I heard it's getting closer to having that full organization management that I kind of enjoy in a franchise. But the online play to me has just never been there. It's just never been at least functional enough for me to invest the time to be any good at it at all.
Oh, right. I mean, it's man, 2017. Why is this game still laggy?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know it's tough, and I get it, and I've seen stuff firsthand with how they develop games, but come on. I mean,
because the game runs smoothly offline, right? I mean, it's just,
for the most part, you're always going to have your hiccups because baseball seems to be the one sport that's maybe it's not. Maybe I got a misconception of how it is compared to football. I guess football would be tougher to with everything going on.
Right. Well, you certainly have more player interactions in football. Every play you have, for the most part, 11 people interacting with another 11. Yeah, I think baseball games historically have struggled the most in the actually hitting transition. So pitching camera, bat hits the ball, and then it switches into a different basically camera and view. But as far as that goes, you feel you're pretty good. I mean, playing offline, you feel like it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think offline's fine. I mean, there's a few things, but some of those things are just things that are going to happen. Like you said, the bat and the ball. Sometimes the pitch comes out of the arm funky, things like that. But that's just stuff that's just normal.
Yeah, yeah.
it's the other end that's killer.
Right. So it kind of makes you think the difference in the enjoyability of the gameplay offline and online makes it seem like it's more of probably a server side issue, right? Like,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I was looking today. They have websites dedicated to how many people drop off of the show.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And it was like there's every other day there was 100, 150, 200, 300, 400 people, 1,000 people. I mean, it gets, and that's a small sample.
Sure.
But, you know.
Well, when you say drop, you mean drop out of the game, like they're playing, or leave and don't ever come back?
Well, like drop out of what they're playing. So say somebody's playing, say somebody's playing Diamond Dynasty,
right?
You know. So I mean, I've heard of instances where like, you know, they have this mode called Battle Royale, which is kind of like it's kind of like Draft Champions a little bit, you know, in Madden, and it's the same. And to me, it's kind of the same idea,
right?
But you pay $1,500 or 1,500 stubs, which is that's their currency.
Mm-hmm.
The stub is you pay 1,500 stubs to enter it, and then the servers drop, and you'll lose the game, and you'll lose your money because of the server.
Okay. Yeah.
So you know that gets to be frustration, and that was actually one of our TSO members brought that up to me about how he's lost several thousand stubs doing that.
Yeah, it stinks. And hopefully when they do fix this, you know, San Diego studios will find some way to, you know, kind of inject all that quote unquote currency back into the people who lost it, because that's not a good thing. Not a good thing. So you and I have talked a little bit about this. You're trying to get a online franchise, a lot of TSO guys involved in that. Trying to get it going, and you know, from what you've told me, you keep running into a ton of issues, even just starting the file, like getting the online franchise going.
Oh, absolutely. You know, when you get an online franchise, it's not like Madden. It's not like click, click, and I'm done, right? It
should be said that that's only been true of Madden for the last couple years. I mean,
so
yeah, and
right, you're right about that.
And before NCAA was very smooth around all that, there was, I can't remember what year it was, might have been 10 or 11. We were having to drop the file and create a new one every season in order to keep the file from crashing, right? So go ahead though.
Okay. So here's where it starts. You do the online franchise, you do the settings, then you get into this thing where you have to upload the roster.
Right.
Well, the upload the roster goes through the servers. Well, I've tried this at 1 a.m. I tried it at 8 a.m. on a Sunday. I've tried it just kind of what I would consider off-peak hours.
Sure. And
it still tells me the server has high load.
Huh.
So I create one league. It says upload roster. I still haven't checked it. It's been trying to upload the roster since last Thursday. And this was after I did it before and got through, and everything crashed on me.
So
then I did an.
Is that?
Go ahead.
Is it like putting you in a queue to upload the file? Yep.
It does it pretty much, because it says the message that you get is uploading rosters. Rosters may take a few minutes due to high load. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but that's pretty much what it says. Server high load or whatever.
Okay.
And then from there, once you get them uploaded, you go through the same process to activate the franchise.
Right. Okay.
And that's where the hang up is. It's like it doesn't want to activate.
Wow.
So it just
seems
to me
complex.
It just oh man, it kills like the momentum you have, because some of these guys are diehards and they want to play, you know.
Sure.
And you just, when they're asking me all the time, is the league activated? Did you get through? And it's no, man. I mean I check it in the morning, I check it at night.
Yeah.
I check it, you know.
Right. So you still don't have an active online franchise file.
I finally got it going about 11 o'clock last night.
Okay.
So we did see it, but that was the one. I still have one uploading a roster, but that other one I got finally going after about a week.
Okay, and I believe you guys did a fantasy draft, right? Last time?
Yeah, we did something a little bit different. I have a small group because of obviously the momentum loss on the league. And I was like, you know what, let's just get started. So we basically simmed through the fantasy draft. So I let the computer do it all.
Mm-hmm.
It took about an hour, 50 rounds. It just went through and did all the teams. And then they're actually starting to play their games tonight. So I think everybody's a little bit jazzed about that.
Yeah. So they haven't really gotten through a lot of the gameplay type issues or anything like that, right?
No, but what my fear is a lot of the interface and everything is, well, I mean, the interface is a tiny bit different, but I mean, some of the stuff in the franchise is untouched from 16. So I've heard stories about this year's mode where people got in and the games aren't either, they sit in queue after you play them, and it takes 24, 48 hours or more to even get the game to post, or, you know, some guys like to go through in their online franchise and sim their leagues.
Right.
And that's taking time.
Sure.
So it's just like a whole slew of problems with the servers and the online franchise and all kinds of stuff.
Right. I guess
the good thing is we actually got a patch last night, or a couple days ago. So that's a good thing.
And is that patch supposed to fix or address any of the issues related to online franchise?
The patch doesn't, but I think they did some server-side maintenance that helped with some of that online franchise stuff. So we could start to see a little bit of a swing in the positive direction. I mean, I don't want to trash it completely, but
sure.
You know,
yeah,
it's frustrating.
Yeah, another episode of servers not being ready for a game launch. Yeah, how surprising.
Like I said, it's 2017.
Yeah, how surprising. So I mean, I guess that's it with your individual struggles with the file, or is there anything else?
You know, I think online franchise, I think that's pretty much it. Obviously, the interface is still kind of slow, not fluid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think a couple of guys have talked about some of the gameplay, but not anything I would go into depth with right now until we play some more games. But overall, that's the big tedious part of the whole thing is trying to even get it started and trying to keep everybody engaged to get through the process and then get them in and on and on and on and on.
Sure. So I mean, the guys that are streaming Diamond Dynasty seem to be having pretty good success playing. So I say that, but you know, in the last few weeks, I've kind of noticed them back off of that and play more of the offline franchise and Road to the Show type stuff. Mm-hmm. Where do you think that kind of sits? Because I mean, look, let's be honest. If Diamond Dynasty and online play aren't working right now, the game's in trouble. I mean, you're going to lose a ton of people that are going to play that game.
I read an article, and I'll post it on TSO, where it basically states that Sony isn't exactly happy with what's going on. Because, I mean, let's be honest, Sony put out a lot of money for this game, right? Wouldn't you think so? Considering it's the only game on the market,
right?
You would think there'd have to be some money behind it because it's got the MLB brand.
Sure.
So I'll post that link on TSO in a little bit, but yeah, if Diamond Dynasty doesn't go, then it's not going to go. And what I've noticed in Diamond Dynasty and Battle Royale is when I play it, I get a lot of freezing. And I mean, I don't have crappy internet, but I don't have Google Fiber either. So
yeah,
But I had some freezing when I played some Battle Royale a couple days ago, and it's been some glitchy stuff like in the outfield where the right fielder just goes to the spot where the ball's going to be and just totally whiffs it.
Really?
Oh yeah, I mean that's the gameplay stuff that I've seen in Diamond Dynasty, or what I would consider both Diamond Dynasty and Battle Royale.
Okay.
Obviously,
can't happen.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Could you imagine? I mean, you know how frustrating it is to be sitting there and the right fielder's there and the ball just he does the little animation where he's like falling.
Yeah. No, that's every adult softball game I've ever participated in. You know, you stick your guy out there in right field. You're like, man, I just hope they don't have a left-handed batter. They hit this ball to this chump. But
do
sure
not.
enough, the bases get loaded and someone pops an easy fly ball out to this guy, and you're just like praying to God and Allah and everything that you think or know is holy, and just hoping that the ball falls into this dude's glove. And you know, it's the most anxiety I've ever felt. Right? It's like,
come on, man, you're talking about my Friday night.
Yeah.
Except I'm the guy in the outfield.
Yeah, no, I play the outfield. That's what I'm saying. I'm out there. I'm like, you could have hit it anywhere else, but I put this guy standing on the line. I'm playing center because I can't get to that part of the field. Mm-hmm. Right? You're just like, man, I hope a homeless guy jumps the fence and catches this ball for us because this guy's got no shot.
That's where you just yelled, that ball was foul. The ball was foul.
Exactly. That line's crooked. Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. If it doesn't, if and you said you noticed more offline franchise stuff. So, I mean, if the Diamond Dynasty is not getting streamed as much because of certain issues, then
yeah, I think the guys are staying away from it. I don't know for what all reasons. I guess Frisky would be good. I got to ask about that. But clearly there's things that are happening that people aren't satisfied with.
So inside the chat, we got John here who's saying that timing, he's asking a question that says timing is so much more critical in a baseball game than a football game, I think. So
that's very true.
The timing is, I think it's more of the physical interaction ball video game to replicate, I would say. Wouldn't you?
It's such a. I mean, you've seen you've seen the math behind, especially at a major league level, the timing and how it affects the or just the things that have to happen in the short amount of time that they happen in. It's especially true of the 100+ mile an hour blazers out there, but. I think that is difficult to model. I think what you saw in older games, whether it was a bit rate or frame rate type thing, they would always try to sync it. And as you've gotten more complex, specifically with more super complex graphics, certainly it's got to become more difficult, right? And this year there's a full physics engine in, right? That it's gonna add a huge component of variability into how the ball's hit and where it lands in the field and how it spins in the air, et cetera, et cetera. I think that's got a lot to do in it. That's pretty difficult to model, right? It's much, and I mean, let's be serious with ourselves. The Madden ball physics that are in the game this year, not that the football, the shape of a football and the material of a football is necessarily a certain, is a easy thing to model, right? It would be much easier to model, let's say, ping pong, where you have a very hard paddle and a somewhat, hard ball and a hard surface. Football's not that way. You have helmets that are very hard. You have padding, pads that the players are wearing that are somewhat hard. You have, body parts and whatever that are somewhat hard. You have grass, which is not hard. You have turf. You have all these things that are whatever. And then the shape of the football is very complex and how it deforms when it, is when it comes in contact with a physical surface. All that being said, the Madden ball physics this year are silly, right? I mean, there's so many things that happen, and as far as bounces and lodging in the air, it just doesn't seem, or it doesn't visually interpret as correct in your mind, and your brain sees it and thinks it's pretty funny. baseball, I mean, when you talk about the physics of a curveball or a slider or even a changeup, and certainly something like a knuckleball, that's pretty high level. That's a high level physical model that has to be rendered, right? And it's not easy. And
But you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? Like, you talk about the ball physics, and I don't mean to like derail or anything, but the show has fantastic ball physics to me. That's what's crazy.
Yeah, I from what I've seen, I can't disagree with you.
Like, especially this year, it's gotten better. You see stuff that you have never seen in that game. The way it ricochets. I mean, I've had the ball hit the bag and ricochet back.
Yeah,
it's just crazy stuff.
Right.
But anyways, I didn't mean to derail you.
No, it's all good. It's all good. But I mean, that was a long-winded answer to your question. That absolutely, it's more difficult. Is that an excuse? Don't think so. Let's be honest. I don't really. If I was building a baseball game from scratch, I think ball physics would probably be the first thing I built. Right. And that's before really graphics. That's probably before different slide mocaps. Right. Like, I mean, that's like a fundamental core piece of the game. So
well, I mean, that's baseball, right?
Yep, it is baseball. So specific to online franchise, let's talk about that for a second, because there was some discussions going on in the Twitter sphere with some of the streamers, some of the MLB The Show online gamers, sort of debating the idea that online franchise even exists in MLB The Show, specifically seeming, kind of centered around the argument that it's kind of just in the game to be in the game. There's really no real improvements that happen from year to year. There doesn't seem to be a dedicated movement either within San Diego studios or the community that's kind of really driving this forward. And kind of what that means overall in the game, whether it should be cut to be sacrificed for different modes, or whether the investment should be made to actually make it a viable mode with a return on that investment through playership and things like that, and engagement in the community. And we got into this argument with Madden a long time ago, right? Like, people don't play online franchise. That's why it's not important. They're not making any improvements to online franchise mode because people don't really want it, because the franchise mode we have in the game, people don't play, which was basically like a season type thing, a connected seasons, if you will. And the argument from the community was that, hey, we don't play it because it's a piece of shit right now. Like, I can't get through multiple seasons of this mode because it's absolutely boring. There's no depth to it. There's no engagement to it. It's honestly a struggle to play this game. Flash forward a few years to where Connected Franchise is now. Last year, and whether this is true or not, it wasn't given to me by a third party. It was given to me within EA, but the most played mode in the game, right? You build a solid game mode that is fun and has feature sets that people enjoy, and people will play that game mode. Right. That's my take with MLB The Show. Hey, man, you got a good game. It looks gorgeous. You're putting stuff in the game that's awesome, like the ball physics and things like that. Give us a way to play together with friends, with strangers even online, that's engaging, that isn't Battle Royale or Diamond Dynasty.
I mean, you give some of us the tools or even a little bit of the server space, and there's a lot of people that can blow your mind with what they can do with the online franchise, right?
Sure.
They did it in Madden. Yeah. They can do it in MLB. There's a diehard. The problem is there's a smaller diehard core that'll do it, but
so
there's enough people.
Yeah, pose this question to yourself, and I'll pose it to the guys in the chat. Do you think online franchise in Madden would be where it is now without, and I'm not going to say Daddy Leagues is the be-all, end-all tool, but a tool that would serve as the place of Daddy Leagues. Do you think franchise would be what it is?
No, I don't.
And
I think that was crucial.
Yeah, I mean it's absolutely a component that keeps leagues going. It helps people stay organized, right? It increases the engagement in the game.
And
San
being
Diego
a
Studios needs to give that ability to people in order. And I mean, you got to have the mode there, right? You can't just build it off of thin air, but give that sort of component. API would be preferable. There are smart people out there that would take it and run with it, and let us build tools around the mode. You focus on building the mode and making it work. Clearly, it doesn't right now. And then you can measure engagement and activity off of that baseline, right?
Right. Use the community.
Yeah.
As opposed to, I guess some of the guys in the community don't feel like that they're using what's in front of them, what's given to them.
Yeah. Shout out to
that's where Matt.
Yeah. Sorry. Shout out to Casper in the chat, batting 137 in AAA and road to the show for the Padres. Hey buddy, you got to get that batting average up, man. You gotta get in the cage, get in the cage, grab the stick, and start taking cuts, man. 137's not gonna get it done.
Usually, when people can't hit, we tell them to use a lighter bat. Just so you know,
lighter bat.
But really, if they use the community, and it's kind of like the same thing, like you said, like yeah, I felt like in Madden 10. They started using the community to be like, okay, what do you need?
Right.
What do you need?
Yeah.
What do you need? What do you need?
Right.
Okay. And then you saw what happened. Like we had the My League Manager and Daddy Leagues like explode from that.
Sure.
Right.
Yep.
And that took a lot of burden off of me as a commissioner. It took burden and let me not only find more guys, find the right guys, but also come up with different things to keep everybody engaged.
Right.
Through that process, instead of always worrying about, I got to check this league to make sure it's activated. I got to check this league to make sure it's this. Instead of doing the I don't want to say boring, but the stuff that is boring. The minuscule task,
Sure.
The stuff that we shouldn't have to worry about and at this point.
No, that's very true. That's very true. And hey,
I mean,
man, and fundamentally, can I get a freaking season generator? Right? Do I have to play the damn same schedule every year? I mean, how fundamentally core is that to? I mean, I shouldn't have to say it, right? I shouldn't have to say it.
Not at all.
Get me through more than one.
Let us make our own schedules.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why we don't have one. Because you can't. But yeah, it would be nice to be the Rangers and not play the Phillies for 4 straight years. Oh, an opening day.
Right. Yeah.
I try to forget that game. So.
Right.
Anyways, but yeah, give us something that we can do, that we can work on, that we can help. Man, I almost even feel like there's no community presence right now. They're just, okay, don't play your game this night, or make sure your games are played by this night because we're doing server maintenance. That's all we really get.
Yeah, and they've done a good job with the patch notes. I've seen a couple of articles, I mean, more or less what you said, that have come out. Mm-hmm. This comes up every year, right? With things that are wrong in Madden. People want the devs or whatever to come out and address those issues on the just straight up directly to the community. I will be the first to tell you, if you have not heard it already, that is not the job of the devs, any dev for any game. They are not responsible for community management. They are not responsible for replying to your tweets. They are not held it's not a part of their job functionality to communicate and have things like a Twitter account. That's the job of the community managers and the community influencers, for EA and Madden specifically. That's the game changers, Battlefield has similar type programs out there. I think NBA 2K has something similar, if I remember correctly. Those are the people that need to take that voice, take those concerns, and feed it back into the publisher, and the dev team and the community managers, and then they respond, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do we think that happens the way it should all the time? I don't think so. I think there's a lot of marketing and things like that have to manage the spin, right? I mean, all these are publicly traded companies. They there's certainly a layer and a component to that isn't just as straightforward as people want to believe it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, I think there's still some ground to be covered there by a lot of studios and game producers. I just I don't think it's right for anybody to say have a to basically tell an organization like that how they should do it. Sure, feedback is welcome, but a lot of people don't understand the marketing, the political things that all kind of roll into that.
And I think there's a right way and a wrong way to do it, right? Like, okay, like I know I'm ranting a little bit tonight and stuff, but I still respect what they've done, and I still love the game. But just like I said, I have issues with certain things, and I see tweets all the time at MLB The Show where they're just trashing them.
Right.
Well, that goes to a main account, so that doesn't do us any good.
Yeah.
As a community.
Right. You need to be engaging with the community managers, who, by the way, get paid to listen to you. Right. Just don't threaten to kill them or anything like that crazy. Yeah, well, hey, I mean, that's just part of being a decent human being at this point, right? I know. Oh, man. But so here's my question for you, since we're getting close to the end here. And since we know there's some deficiencies in MLB The Show, do you think it's finally time that there's competition for this game? I mean, we always talk about how Madden needs competition, but is this game the one game that needs the competition? Absolutely. I mean, all games need competition. That just ends up in a better result for the consumer. Mm-hmm. That's true of any market, any industry. Man, I played so much MVP baseball. I played so much college baseball. Absolutely, they need to come back. I mean, absolutely. Oh, man.
I played MVP 2005. I played the NCAA one. I played MLB 2K5. Dude, I had every game, and like, I felt like those two games were neck and neck. MVP 2005 is the best game I've ever played, like baseball wise.
Oh, just baseball game you've ever played? Okay.
Yeah, not best game ever, but baseball game.
Okay.
Unless you want to go back to like Ken Griffey Jr. winning home run on Super Nintendo. That was pretty fun.
By the way, you're romanticizing that game a little bit, because Ken Griffey Jr. can run between first and second faster than anybody else can run. No, he can run from first to home faster than anybody else can run from first to second. The game. So
you were so you were literally like. You were literally like me when I'd be the Rangers, and back then the Rangers were god awful, right?
Yeah.
And I'd come up and I'd be winning, and then I'd play the Mariners, and then Ken Griffey come up, and I'd be winning the game, and I just knew the first pitch he was going to crush out. Like, I had no option.
Yeah. And what do?
That ball was going 400 feet.
You walk him and then put that freaking drag racer on base, and let him just destroy your defense.
Yeah, at that point the game was they were so good on that game that you walk him, and then Jay Buhner just come up and hit a 500-foot home run, and you just be like, dude, I give up.
Right. Was it Molitor?
I still love that game.
Paul Molitor, maybe batting
fifth. Paul Molitor. Yep.
Yeah. That was
a
nasty team.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, absolutely competition. And when I say competition, I don't mean the competition that's already out there right now. RBI baseball is still a game for those of you that don't know. I honestly found that out this year. I was totally shocked to learn that there actually is a baseball game on Xbox. Total and utter piece of shit. I mean, it's a total dumpster fire of a game. So when I say competition, I don't mean Joe Blow mom and pop game studio make Super Mega Baseball is a good example, right? Fun arcadey type baseball game will never take market share from the show. Plain and simple. Won't do it.
They're not scared of it.
They're not even operating on the same, basis, right? I think RBI baseball is so much closer to Super Mega Baseball than it is the show. I mean competition as in a AAA studio, someone like EA, someone like, I don't know who else out there would do it.
2K, maybe.
Yeah. Produce a game, buy the license, spend the dollars to get it, and produce a game through a studio that actually has the talent to compete at a high level, right? I don't need Joe Montana's football or backbreaker, right? I don't need that garbage. I need
you don't
something.
Need. You don't need.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. So, and people, I mean, those are great examples of why this isn't easy, right? And not every studio can create a game like this, certainly on a yearly cycle. But it when you talk competition, I just think it's important to kind of level set that a little bit, right? So yeah.
So basically, he's saying hashtag bring back MVP.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I'll be at the midnight release, the game that's out for sure, or the day that game that comes out. Can't talk today.
That's all right. It's been a long day.
Yeah, no kidding. So with that being said, guys, we've reached our time. We're an hour here. Let us know what you think. Tweet at us at DrifterBub, at BobJR5206.
No, 0526.
0526. Yeah, this is why I couldn't remember any of my friends' phone numbers in high school. Back when you actually had to remember phone numbers. You can always tweet the main account at Tradition Sports. Get on the forums, DM us. Let us know what you think. Are you having trouble with your online franchise? Are the things that could improve the online franchise mode in the show that we didn't touch, that we should discuss and maybe bring up on a later podcast or in an article or something like that? And last but not least, what do you think of competition in the sports genre in general, but specifically with baseball and baseball games, something to rival the show? With that being said, appreciate everybody that hung out in the chat. Awesome, you guys are dropping in on us. Love the comments, love the love. This will obviously be on SoundCloud for you guys to listen to later, those who couldn't watch this live. And then also on the YouTube's youtube.com/Tradition Sports. With that being said, we'll sign off tonight. You guys take care of yourselves, and we will see you next week.
Thanks, fellas.